Have you ever wondered why those with a higher purpose face so many financial struggles? Why does it seem like the more you try to make a difference in the world, the more difficulties appear? Today, I am going to reveal the truth no one told you, and that can change everything in your life. Before you begin, please like and subscribe to the channel. This way, YouTube understands the importance of these videos and helps deliver this message to more people who, like you, are seeking answers and strength to move forward. Now, prepare to understand why your financial suffering is no coincidence and how it is shaping your future in ways you never imagined. Purpose requires detachment. Before fulfilling the higher calling, the soul needs to be cleansed of everything that could become an obstacle along the way. And money, as useful as it may be, can become an invisible prison when it's tied to pride, vanity, and fear. Therefore, the chosen ones often begin their journey by facing scarcity, to learn to free themselves from these attachments. Lack of money, at first, seems like a curse. But over time, you realize it's a blessing in disguise. It's in this scenario that you learn to value the essential, to see beyond the material, to depend more on faith than on the numbers in your bank account. This is where inner transformation begins. Your greater purpose requires you to trust in the invisible. When everything is going well, it's easy to believe. But when you're in debt, behind on bills, and uncertain, your faith is truly tested. It is at this point that detachment begins to strengthen. You begin to understand that you do and control everything, and that, even so, you're being guided. Money, when it's an end, corrupts, but when it's merely a means, it serves. The chosen must learn to place their hearts in purpose and not in possessions. Life takes away everything that doesn't serve your calling, including the false security of money, so that, when it returns, it never dominates you again. Many who have a strong calling go through periods of scarcity, not because they lack merit, but because they need to prepare. God doesn't want you to serve two masters. You either serve the mission or serve money. Detachment puts this to the test. It is in this process that you learn that true value lies not in what you have, but in who you are. That true wealth is not measured in numbers, but in purpose, peace, and impact. And that is why money, for a time, needs to step aside, so that you can discover what truly matters. The life of the chosen one is inverted. First comes emptiness, then fullness. First scarcity, then abundance. Because true purpose is not built on excess, but on the rock of faith, character, and mission. Detachment is not abandoning the desire to prosper. It is putting that desire in its right place. It is understanding that money is not identity, not love, not approval. It is just a tool. And you need to prove that you know how to use this tool wisely before receiving it on a larger scale. While others accumulate for status, you learn to share for purpose. While others rely on the appearance of wealth, you are strengthened by the essence of your mission. And that is why detachment is such a powerful spiritual key. In the end, you will realize that you never needed money to be who you are. But now that you have become who you needed to be, money will come, and it will come in peace. Because now you are no longer its servant. It will serve your calling. Scarcity forges character. When everything else is lacking, what remains is you. And it is in this place of apparent abandonment that character begins to be forged. It is not in achievements that the true self is revealed, but in losses, hardships, and sleepless nights. Scarcity comes like a refining fire, not to destroy, but to shape who you truly need to become. In lack, you discover who is truly with you, and who is only there for the benefits. But most importantly, you discover who you are when you have nothing left to lean on. The shell falls away, pride is shattered, truth emerges. And only then does humility begin to blossom. Scarcity forces you to be creative. When you can't buy, you learn to create. When you can't afford it, you learn to ask for help. When there are no resources, you discover hidden talents, gifts that were dormant, and a strength you never imagined you had. It is in this scenario that your essence is honed. It also teaches you empathy. Those who have gone hungry don't laugh at the hunger of others. Those who have had their electricity cut off know the value of a hot shower. Those who have had their credit rating blacklisted don't judge those in debt. Financial suffering teaches you to look at others with compassion, not condemnation. The character of the chosen one cannot be shallow. You are called to great things, and therefore you must undergo profound tests. God allows you to face certain struggles not to punish you, but to prepare you. Because when you get to where you're going, you'll have power. And power without character destroys, but power with character transforms. Scarcity also teaches true gratitude. When you've lived with little, a simple plate of food becomes a feast. A paid bill becomes a reason to celebrate. Honest work becomes a blessing. Gratitude stops being a speech and becomes practiced daily, real and profound. It's in the valley that you learn not to be dazzled by the peak. Because you'll know, deep down, that it was the struggle that built you. That it wasn't the good days that defined you, but the difficult ones. And this kind of awareness is what will keep you humble when prosperity arrives. Character forged in scarcity is firm, because it has weathered strong winds. And so, when abundance comes, you'll know how to use it with wisdom, generosity, and purpose. You won't be one of those who lose themselves in luxury, because you've already learned to live with the bare minimum and survived. And do you know what else scarcity does? It cleanses the heart. It removes haste, pride, and comparison. It brings you to your knees, yes, but it's precisely there that you learn to pray truthfully, to depend on God sincerely, to encounter the divine in the intimacy of pain. Therefore, don't despise the period of scarcity. It's not there by chance. It's forming something in you that money could never buy, a character worthy of your purpose. And when all this passes, because it will, you will be someone who not only achieved, but became. You are being trained in the invisible. While in the physical world, it seems like nothing is happening, in the spiritual world, there is an intense movement taking place in your favor, but you don't see it. And this is intentional. The greater purpose requires blind faith, silent trust, and perseverance in the dark. It is in this invisible setting that your spirit is being trained. Have you ever noticed that the closer you get to your calling, the more things go wrong? Projects stall, doors close, money disappears, relationships fall apart. This is no coincidence. It's a divine strategy. Because in the silence of answers, you develop something that will be vital on your path: spiritual sensitivity. You are being prepared to trust signs the world ignores, to feel what the eyes cannot see, to hear God's voice in the midst of chaos. This is the invisible training. It teaches you to live by faith, not by logic. And this isn't learned in books or courses, it's learned through pain, doubt, and the desert. Many give up at this stage because they think they've been forgotten. But in truth, this is when they are more accompanied than ever. But the divine presence doesn't manifest itself the way you expect. It hides to strengthen your search. It is silent to test your persistence. It observes you to see how far you will go, even without guarantees. The invisible training teaches you that purpose isn't about feeling, it's about obeying. Even without understanding, even without seeing results, even without applause, money, or recognition. Because those who fulfill a greater mission must learn to walk based on conviction, not validation. While the world sees nothing, heaven sees progress. Each day you choose to continue, even without visible signs of progress, is a seed planted in the spiritual realm. And in due time, this seed will break through the earth, and what was once invisible will become inevitable. This process also serves to stop you from depending on circumstances. Purpose requires constancy, and constancy only arises when you learn to follow through even without motivation. You are being trained to lead, inspire, and endure, and it all begins when no one is looking. The invisible is the territory where God builds the great. Because, if you endure in this place, you will be ready to occupy any space in the visible. because you have already overcome in silence, endured in the dark, trusted without seeing. And this faith unshakable will be your differentiator in the world. This is the kind of training that has no audience, but has purpose. That doesn't bring applause, but brings authority. You may seem small in the eyes of the world, but heaven knows exactly who you are becoming. And that is all that matters. In the end, everything that seems invisible today will be clear. What makes you cry silently today will be what makes you smile with gratitude. Because the invisible isn't absence, it's preparation. And you are closer to your turning point than you think. The system doesn't favor those with light. We live in a world driven by appearances, competition, and self-interest. And this system built to favor the ego is not prepared for those with a divine mission. Those with light are disturbing. Those with real purpose don't fit in. And that's why so many doors seem to close to you. From an early age, the chosen one realizes they need to fight twice as hard to achieve even the bare minimum. They see people with less preparation, less ethics, and even bad intentions prospering while they remain waiting. It hurts, it seems unfair. But it's a revelation. The system that governs the world is not the same one that governs your life. Your mission comes from above, but the system operates from below. It rewards superficial brilliance, not essence. It values those who follow human rules, not those who obey divine direction. Therefore, those who carry true light are seen as a threat. They are cancelled, ignored, discredited, because their very existence already confronts what is false. The system fears the authentic. It seeks conformity, not transformation. That's why it rejects the different, boycotts the just, and marginalizes the spiritual. But your purpose doesn't depend on its approval. Your path comes from another source. And even if it takes time, it will be fulfilled in the right way, at the right time. Those who have light shine even in the dark. Even when the system tries to extinguish, God illuminates. And while some take shortcuts to get there quickly, you take the harder path, but firmly. Because you know you don't just want to arrive, but to stay. And only those who build on a solid foundation can sustain what they receive. The doors the system closes, heaven opens. The resources the world denies you, God sends from where you least expect it. You don't need to force anything. What is yours will come, even if it seems impossible, because what sustains your journey is not the system, it is purpose. The world rewards those who sell themselves, but purpose rewards those who hold on. And even if you are anonymous, hidden, behind the scenes, there's a movement happening in your favor. Heaven doesn't need the world's permission to exalt you. When the time is right, everyone will see. Your light bothers those who live in the shadows. That's why you've experienced close-up envy, unexpected betrayals, and unfair criticism. Don't take it personally. This is part of the journey of those who carry something different. The world always tries to erase what it doesn't understand. You'll realize that the more faithful you are to your mission, the more the system will try to exclude you. But this is precisely what confirms. You weren't made to fit in, you were made to transform. And every transformation begins with rejection. In the end, the system may even try to stop you, but it has no power to stop you. Because your journey is not in the hands of men, but in the hands of God. And when He decides to lift you up, no structure in this world can hold you back. Your energy attracts trials. Those who carry true light attract more than glances, they attract battles. Because your presence, without saying a word, already emits something that the spiritual world recognizes. And the greater your mission, the more intense the trials will be. You are not being attacked for what you do, but for what you represent. There are people who reject you for no apparent reason. Environments that seem to weigh you down when you enter them. Situations that become complicated out of nowhere. This isn't madness, it's spiritual perception. Your energy, your frequency, your vibrational field don't go unnoticed. It disturbs what is false, what is dark, what is out of place. Financial trials are often the most subtle and effective way to try to weaken you. When the war comes through your pocket, it directly affects your structure, your peace, your stability. But it is precisely at this point that you are called to resist. Your strength lies not in your resources, but in the roots you created with God. To be chosen is to carry a spiritual password that hell recognizes. And that's why the attacks come early, they come strong, and sometimes they come disguised as coincidences. But what few understand is that these trials are also opportunities for elevation. Each trial overcome gives you more authority, more maturity, more clarity. The spiritual world operates by principles, and one of them is, those who don't win the battle in secret don't sustain the blessing in public. That's why, before exaltation comes the test. Before the stage comes the desert. Before abundance comes the attack. Because only those who have gone through all this will know how to deal with what is to come. Your energy attracts trials because it announces who you are becoming. It says, without words, that you are not just anyone. And this already sets opposing forces in motion, because your mission threatens structures of control, lies, and ego. But don't be alarmed. If your light is causing war, it's because it is truly illuminating. Some attacks aren't because of what you did wrong, but because of everything you're doing right. And it's important to remember this when everything seems to be falling apart. Trials aren't proof of abandonment, they're a sign of progress. Only those who are in motion can attack. Only those who have power can resist. Your vibration changes environments. Your presence affects the spiritual climate around you. That's why you often feel unexplained heaviness, unexplained fatigue, sudden discouragement. This is a spiritual battle. But the fact that you feel it is already a victory, because it shows that you are sensitive, awake, connected. You were not made to live an ordinary life. So don't expect ordinary struggles. The intensity of your trial reveals the greatness of your calling. And even if it hurts, even if it exhausts, even if you feel like quitting, remember, every trial carries a promotion in disguise. In the end, your energy will continue to attract trials, but it will also attract victories, right connections, unexpected doors, and miracles. Because those who carry light, even when tired, continue to shine. And this light, no matter how much they try to extinguish it, always finds a way to overcome the darkness. You must learn to create, not depend. One of the greatest lessons of the spiritual path is the transition from dependence to creation. Those with a greater purpose cannot live waiting for solutions to come from outside, because the mission demands autonomy. Financial scarcity, in this sense, becomes a harsh but necessary teacher. It forces you to awaken gifts that were dormant. When money is lacking, the illusion of control is also lacking. And that's when you begin to realize you're more equipped than you thought. You begin to find solutions, ideas, paths, opportunities that you would never have considered if you were comfortable. Discomfort pushes you out of passivity. It forces you to act. Dependency is a subtle cycle. Sometimes you don't even realize you're waiting for someone to solve things for you. The government, a job, a relative, a miracle. But your greater purpose demands that you break out of this state. That you position yourself as a channel of solutions, not as someone who just waits for the solution. God called you to create, to bear fruit, to make much out of little. And that's why, when you stop depending, you begin to see your creative capacity. Scarcity then ceases to be a punishment and becomes a provocation. It challenges you to access the source within you. It is in the midst of pressure that the greatest undertakings, the most creative projects, the boldest ideas are born. Many of today's leading figures began in pain. They began without resources, without support, without a clear path. But they had something within that made them create. And that is what you are being called to do now. Creating is a divine act. When you create, you connect with the spark of God within you. You become a partner in creation. That is why entrepreneurship, writing, teaching, healing, transforming, All of this has such spiritual power. Because you are, with your hands, bringing to light something that did not yet exist. Dependence paralyzes, but creation liberates. When you understand that you carry the potential to generate new realities, your attitude changes. You stop begging for help and you start building bridges. You stop blaming yourself and start moving. Because you realize you're not a victim of life, you're a co-creator with it. This turning point is liberating. And ironically, financial pain is the ideal setting for it to happen. Because without external support, you're forced to look within. And by looking within, you discover what the world never told you, that you have power, that you are the answer, that you are the source. Creation is a response to the call. God won't do for you what He has already empowered you to do. Heaven sends ideas, connections, strategies, but the action is yours. The responsibility is yours. And the more you move, the more the universe moves with you. So understand, you were not called to depend. You were called to create. And the pain you feel now is just the birth of something new that is about to be born. Don't resist. Create, because your creation will nourish other lives and will open doors that dependence never could. Riches will come, but at the right time. The promise of prosperity is real. But its timing is not determined by human haste, but by the preparation of the soul. Many don't understand why, even doing everything right, they continue to face financial difficulties. The answer lies not in a lack of effort, but in the maturation of the spirit. Riches will come, but only when you are ready to sustain them wisely. Abundance is a burden. It seems light, but it isn't. It requires emotional structure, spiritual balance, and clarity of purpose. Many crumble when they receive money before the right time. What was a blessing becomes a curse. What was a resource becomes a trap. Therefore, God delays what you so earnestly ask for, not as punishment, but as protection. When riches arrive before their time, they reveal unaddressed flaws. They amplify insecurities, awaken vanity, and feed the ego. Money doesn't transform character, it exposes it. Therefore, times of scarcity are in fact a shield that prevents you from losing yourself in things you don't yet know how to manage. God doesn't just want to give you, He wants to keep you. The true blessing is the one that comes the moment you are ready to not be a slave to it. And this preparation happens behind the scenes, in silence, in faithfulness, even when there is no immediate return. Waiting is not punishment, it is construction. You may have been praying for years for a financial turnaround. And heaven answers you with silence. But this silence also speaks. It is saying, not yet. And while this hurts you externally, it is forming you internally. It is teaching you to depend on the source, not the fruits. To trust in divine timing, not the human calendar. The right time for riches is not just when you are ready to receive them, but when you are ready to share them. Because in the kingdom, prospering is not hoarding, it is blessing. The abundance that comes from God is not selfish, it is collective. It overflows to transform lives around you. You'll know you're near the right time when money stops being an obsession. When your peace no longer depends on your bank account. When you understand that you are already complete, even without everything you desire. That's when heaven says, now yes, it's ready. The right wealth at the wrong time can destroy you. But wealth at the right time with a healed heart multiplies everything you already are. It doesn't change you, it expands you. And everything forged in scarcity shines in abundance. Because now you know who you are, with or without money. You won't be known only by what you have, but by what you carry. Your shine won't come from gold, but from light. Money will come, yes, in quantity, in honor, in constancy. But it will only be a reflection of what you have already become within. It will no longer define you, it will follow you. So trust, your time will come. Riches are on the way, but they respect heaven's rhythm. Continue to be faithful in the little things. Continue to serve even in scarcity. Because a little with purpose is worth more than a lot without roots. And when the time is right, everything you lacked will come with interest and glory. Pain connects you to others. You may not realize it now, but every tear you shed is building a bridge. A bridge between you and those who will yet experience the same pain you faced. Your scarcity, your hardships, the days you thought about giving up, all of this is connecting you to people who, in the future, will see in you a mirror and a hope. Pain has a power that victory does not. It humanizes. It shatters the illusion of perfection, tears down masks, and brings souls closer together. When you share your struggles truthfully, you allow others to feel less alone. You become accessible, real, and it is in this place of vulnerability that the deepest bonds are created. Those who have never been through anything cannot reach those who are at rock bottom. But you, who have felt the pressure of lack, who have cried because you couldn't afford the basics, have something that no diploma or course can give you: authority through the pain you've experienced. This is worth more than any pretty speech. Financial pain confronts you with the reality of the people you've been called to serve. It strips away any arrogance and reminds you that all of us, no matter how great we are dust and soul. This understanding makes you more sensitive, more empathetic, more generous. And this is essential for those who carry a higher calling. How many times have you felt isolated, thinking you were the only one going through this? Now imagine someone listening to your story and feeling seen for the first time. Your testimony has this power. It doesn't just inspire, it heals. It sparks hope where there was only darkness. You're not the only one suffering, but perhaps you're the only one with the courage to talk about it. And that already makes you a beacon. Even if you're still in the middle of the process, you can shine a light on others who are just beginning their journey. Because those who have the courage to show their hurt have the gift of healing without needing medication. The connection born from pain is genuine, because it's not based on status, but on essence. Those who have cried together, walk together. Those who have suffered similarly understand each other's gaze. And these connections will be a vital part of your purpose. You were not called to climb alone, but to lift others with you. So stop being ashamed of your struggles. They are part of your ministry, your mission, your message. You will be remembered not only for what you achieved, but above all for everything you overcame and for those you helped overcome as well. Your pain is not in vain. It is generating something greater. It is writing a story that others will read as a manual for overcoming. You don't know it, but someone is already watching your journey and being inspired by your resilience. You're already making a difference, even without realizing it. In the end, true purpose isn't about you, it's about others. And the more you heal, the more healing you generate. The more you share, the more you transform. Your pain connects you, and your connection transforms lives. You weren't born to live within the system, but above it. From the beginning, your mission makes it clear that you didn't come to fit into a system that rewards superficiality, selfishness, and short-termism. The conventional financial system works for many, but for those with a greater purpose, it proves limiting, suffocating, and often unfair. You were made to soar beyond these rules. While many chase shortcuts and easy solutions, you are called to walk the path of truth, integrity, and faith. This may seem more difficult and slower, but it's the only path that guarantees lasting results. The system tries to drag you into mediocrity, but you were born for excellence, and excellence isn't a product of conformity. You will realize that some strategies used by others don't work for you. The world's money game can be cruel and full of traps. Therefore, it is necessary to develop a financial awareness that goes beyond traditional formulas, an awareness guided by spiritual wisdom and discernment. Don't be surprised if, by insisting on living by your values, you feel like you're swimming against the current. The system is built to keep people trapped in patterns that support greater interests. But you have been called to break these chains, to be a light that illuminates new paths, to show that it is possible to prosper fairly. Your prosperity will not be the result of manipulation, deception, or dubious shortcuts. It will be the fruit of honest work, dedication, patience, and faith. And even if the results, while they may take a while to appear, they will come with a greater purpose, not just for you, but to impact generations. Leaving the system doesn't mean rejecting the world, but transcending its limitations. It means understanding that true financial freedom lies in autonomy, creativity, and the conscious use of resources. It's about living according to your mission, not the expectations of others. You will discover that by positioning yourself outside the system, you create new networks, new opportunities, and new values. You become an agent of transformation, opening doors so that others can also live beyond what has been imposed on them. The process can be lonely, and that's why faith becomes your greatest ally. It is the certainty of the invisible, the fuel to keep going even when the world tells you to give up. And this faith will sustain you until you see the fruits of your labor blossom. Remember, it is not you who's wrong for not fitting into the system. It is the system that wasn't made for you. You are a free spirit, a builder of new paradigms. And this requires courage, perseverance, and great confidence in the calling you have received. In the end, you will be a living example that it is possible to thrive by living with purpose, truth, and faith. You will prove that there is a different and better way to deal with money and life. And your story will inspire many to follow the same path. This is all part of your calling. Financial suffering is not an accident, nor a punishment. It is a crucial stage in your formative process. It is the forge where your character, faith, and determination are shaped, so that you are prepared for what God has in store. This difficult phase is not the end of your story, it is the beginning of your true calling. Every struggle, every hardship, every doubt is a brick that builds the foundation of your destiny. It may seem unfair, it may seem endless, but it is this experience that will make you someone capable of leading, inspiring, and transforming. The calling is not for the weak, it is for the strong, and the fire of suffering is there to strengthen your spirit. Those who are chosen do not walk the easy path. He walks the path of fidelity, endurance, and courage. Even when everything seems to be against him, even when discouragement strikes hard, the chosen one remains steadfast, knowing they are being shaped for something greater. Financial pain is one of the toughest trials because it directly affects our security and self-esteem. But it is also a unique opportunity to rediscover your identity beyond money, beyond material possessions. It is the chance to discover that your worth depends not on what you have, but on who you are. This profound experience brings humility. It shatters any trace of arrogance and replaces it with gratitude. Gratitude for the opportunity to learn, grow, and connect with the invisible. Gratitude for the chance to become a living example of faith in action. If you're going through this, don't despair. Don't compare yourself to those who seem to have it easy. Every journey is unique, and your time is the right time. God hasn't forgotten you. He is with you every step of the way, even when the path seems dark. You were chosen to be a light in the midst of darkness, and the darkness tries to consume you and silence you. But your mission is greater than any difficulty. The fire didn't come to destroy you, but to purify you. It will burn away everything that doesn't serve your growth, leaving only what is essential. When you look back, you'll realize that every difficulty was a gift in disguise, that every fall was a learning experience, that every tear watered the fertile ground where your mission would flourish. You are not alone. Many have already walked this same path, and today shine like stars. This journey makes you strong, wise, and resilient. You are not the same person who began this journey. You are becoming someone who will impact the world in a profound and genuine way. And when victory comes, it will be sweet, because you will know the value of each achievement. Finally, remember, being chosen is a privilege and a responsibility. Financial struggle is a necessary chapter for your light to shine brighter. Trust the process, keep the faith, and know that the best is yet to come. You are on the right path, and your mission is too great to be interrupted. Now that you know why those with a greater purpose face so many financial struggles, I want you to remember one thing: it's all part of your calling. This difficult phase is not the end. It's just the beginning of your transformation, and victory is on the way. If this video touched your heart and helped you see your journey with more clarity and hope, don't forget to like it. This makes a huge difference so that more people who need this message can receive it. Share it with anyone you know who is going through this difficult time, because together we are stronger and can inspire many to remain steadfast in our mission. And of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel now to continue receiving content that will strengthen your faith, your purpose, and your financial life. Remember, you were chosen to shine, and no one will dim that light. Stay strong, because the best is yet to come.